Go ahead, I'll share. And I'm recording this too, so if you guys need to go back and look at it, I can share the link with you. Yeah. So and that's where we could talk about it, right? Like the way I prefer to do it is like things could pop up, right? And you just never know until you start doing it. And I always like to be conservative there. But what I did is I put 90% on this profit share, right? Like I could, and sometimes that's more like 50-50 or 80% to you guys, but I wanted to give, because I wanted to, so my preference is to make sure this has plenty of room and give you guys more on the back end. But I could play with both, but what are your thoughts? I guess I always try to look at like here, like depending on the sales price from 250 to 400 is probably pushing it, but I'd say 250 to 350. You guys get anywhere from, these are kind of the numbers I see you guys getting on the total on the back end, right? I don't know. I don't know what you think, but do you feel like we'd be somewhere in here getting you guys between 160 to potentially up to over 200? I mean, it'd be great if the market
Yes,
rebounds.
in between, I didn't know how much you plan to do for rehab because so another home got listed over there and they listed for 250. So they're kind of messing up our comps. Um, Even though we have the bigger home and it
Hmm.
was a buyer riding by and asking me about that. So I definitely feel like to get to 350, like right now the basement is partially finished, but to really get to 350, you're probably gonna kind of have to do more, which we do have finished walls in there, but I just, you know, want to make sure or see how that was incorporated.
Got it. No, it's mostly going to be focused on painting. Let's see. Paint, texture, walls, soffits, like inside and out. Remodel kitchen, move interior wall, renovate the bathrooms, concrete. I'm just kind of going through the scope. Put concrete to remove moisture from basement. New lights, paint the roofing, cut back like a lot of yard work, trimming on the trees. Um, anyway, so those are kind of some of the different things we were planning on it to get it up to that price.
Okay, I'm just like 350 in Clayton County is almost new. So,
Okay,
and it's just what again, we have a bigger home, but it's just the comps over there. Like I'm waiting on one that is fully renovated, which is just a ranch with no basement, and they were 294, and
okay,
then they went down to 284, and then they went under contract at 284, but I don't know what that final price is going to be. But again, that's a smaller home than our home.
okay.
And then we got a new listing that is on the corner, literally like two doors down, and they listed at 250. And I could give you the address, but it's not a full renovation. It's just like some new floors and granite. But they
Got
list
it.
at 250. And that just concerns me because I don't want to go through all this if we end up still kind of getting lower,
Yeah,
much lower than just a cash buyer coming in right now and offering us, I don't know if they give us low twos right now and we still split.
yeah. Now I hear you. So I think it's probably a good idea. I took out the 400K. So it sounds like 250 to 350 is we feel like that's the range, right, for what it could sell at.
And then I don't know how buyers are gonna feel about, oh, I just seen it listed for 295 and y'all renovated, but how much was renovated or how, well,
I
and
mean,
stuff.
honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about that, just from my experience, like, because that's what fix and flippers do, right? And they go in
Mm-hmm.
and I think it'll totally transform. And I did look at some of the photos, and I could see why it's not moving now, right? It's just not updated.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if we go, honestly, it's amazing what paint and flooring will do, right? But then we go do
Yeah,
some of these
but
other.
I'm just saying, are we touching the basement or are we just doing moisture and just some white paint on the existing finished walls down there?
Yeah, we had not put a bunch in the scope for the basement, but
Okay.
is there anything? Yeah, I mean, was there something down there you feel like, hey, if we did this, we get a lot more value back?
Mm, yeah, I don't know how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
If we could
I don't,
add another bedroom, that would, because you wouldn't have to do plumbing for a bedroom, but
yeah.
it would have to be rearranged because the way that dad has it, it's not a legal bedroom. It doesn't have a window in it. So,
Got it.
but I don't know how much it's gonna cost to rearrange and do drywall on the other side
Yeah.
where a window is.
I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. I don't know, from my experience and even talking to Pat and just knowing this area, sounds like it's a sounds like it's a unique property, but I don't know. I don't ever want to be the most expensive house in the area, right? So I think it'd be better
Mhm.
to keep it simpler. And probably I wouldn't just going off what Pat told me, but it might be better just to not do it and just to really just kind of clean it up and keep it affordably priced.
And it might be fine that way because it leaves people a blank canvas. And then the same people who've been calling now, they may just come back and just rent it out like it is, the
Hmm.
buyers.
Yeah,
Because
that
then it gives them an opportunity to say, okay, I
I
want
agree.
to do two bedrooms downstairs and have two, you know, a two-bedroom apartment downstairs or whatever.
Yes, that's exactly what I would say. Like, let them make it their own.
Okay.
And our goal is going to be getting it in and out. I want to be able to have this thing listed by January or beginning of January. I think it'd be a great time to go list it again and list it looking fresh and new and nice. Oh, I was going to ask you guys on the roof though. Had you gotten the roof inspected?
No.
Okay, that would be, and that's partly why I'm assuming that I'm going to have to probably do some work on the roof. Um, and then that's why my 110 is a little bit higher. So if we don't have to do a roof and we can get a certification, I could definitely, I think, adjust the rehab a little bit. But maybe, and I could do that in the meantime. Or what are your thoughts on that? Is that how you typically have done? Is
Yeah,
that
I
what you?
don't know much about the roof. I think he talked to Tanya about it, and it was supposed to be a newer roof, I think, and it probably is. It's just that with all the trees, if a limb fell,
Trees,
that
yeah.
affected
Okay,
um
got
something.
it,
So it's probably more like a patchwork type of thing.
got it. Okay, and I could verify that. But yeah, and again, I just want to be conservative on it, right? And I want to make sure it's worth our time to go manage the contractors and do it all. But yeah, I mean, I guess what are you guys' overall thoughts? Oh, you know what? How much? I should capture that in here. How far behind are we? What's the monthly payment? Do you know roughly?
Um, it's not. I want to say it's 909.
Oh, that's it. $909 a month. Okay. So we're roughly 3 months behind. So about 3 grand we'll have to be putting in. And again, we'll be coming out of pocket to do that right away to keep you guys current. Um, and then I think I've got right here, I've got as far as holding costs, I've got about 7,000 allocated. Okay, so I think there's enough to cover that, which is good because that still buys us about 3 more months. I don't think we'll need that much, but to sell it. Does that make sense? Basically, 3 months to catch it. We basically have about 6 months of holding costs built into this.
Mhm.
And then I did 4%. But I mean, what do you think? What would you want to do? I want to make sure you're treated fairly, as far as the commission. 2% to each side. But what do you see down there in
I
Georgia?
well before I think I did 3% for myself, but and I'm gonna be honest with you, because I knew this property was not really up to date. I didn't put my all into it, but when we flip it, I typically hire a photographer and stuff. So that's why I always do 3% for me, and then I give the other person 2% or 2.5.
Okay. So
Um,
maybe five would be. What do you think about maybe five's a more fair number? And I
yeah.
don't mind. We could work in the cost of the photos into our cost of the project.
Yeah, I normally do a whole lot more. Like with this one, I didn't do open houses or any of that because I knew it needed so much work. So my exposure was just different.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds good. So we'll go 5%. Um, okay. So anyway, so this is kind of what it looks like. I think somewhere between, yeah, somewhere. This is you guys see kind of down here. Like I think if we could get to the 350 number, you guys would get around 203,000. And the beauty is like we'll close, like this will all happen fast. We'll catch it up. Um, you guys could leave it the way it is. Um, don't have to worry about really anything else. But what are your other thoughts? You guys have any other questions? I mean, the biggest thing I want to be is I want our option to be the easy option where you guys don't have to worry about anything.
So you're getting 12 and we're getting 113, and then we're dividing it, and you're saying, okay, so
Yeah, I would assume we should be in the middle, right? And if the market, I think if they drop interest rates, that's the other thing we have going in our favor because of the election. I think there's a lot more people, especially after the holidays. I feel like a lot of more people will be on the market looking for a house, and that might make
mm-hmm.
the 350 more of a realistic number. I mean, no one knows for sure, but
Okay. Well, yeah. Um,
I
I
mean, if you
think
think about,
so.
go keep talking, but I'm just trying to think about if you're at if you're on the market pricing it right now with no updates. I'm just going to go pull it up here. With none of this work going, and you're at 275. Like, yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I think we'd have to be close to getting. Again, you know the market better than I do, but I feel like we could be getting closer to 300, 350. But go ahead. Well, you guys
Yeah,
are
I
gonna.
would definitely listen at that. I also don't really service over there, so it's different. Like, I know that neighborhood, and his neighborhood hasn't moved at all, too. So it's very tricky. Now all of a sudden everybody's selling at the same time, but for years, like the comps went back to like 2020. So, and then probably one sold, and then people was hanging on to their property for like almost 30 years. So, and I was nosy, so I did look at Pat work. It looks very good.
Good. Oh, that's good.
Um, because as a realtor, I know a lot of times I see these people, they flip the properties and they kind of leave the same old cabinets that have, the grease on it and stuff like that. And, you know, and that'll make it not move either. And people don't understand, I see the buyers walking in and they're just like, this is not really a flip. They did two things. So,
Yep. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, and let me know if you guys have more questions. But basically, what I do is I send a really simple purchase contract. I could even. Would it help if I pulled up one of the templates or one of the ones we recently did?
yeah, I'm gonna talk to the lawyer about it too. So is this kind of like assuming the loan? Is that basically what it
Yeah, we'll just assume the loan, right? And we'll do this all to the title company to where we will. I'm just going to share it really quick as I we'll log this in. But we'll close at the title company. You guys would sign the deed, and then what we could do is sign a promissory note that basically outlines that says, hey, when we sell the house, depending on the purchase price, the first 90,000 will go, or whatever the balance of the loan will get paid first. The rest, the next 110,000 goes to us, and then after that, we profit share based on 90% going to you and 10% to us. And then we'll factor in the holding costs and closing costs. But all that's typically on the closing statement anyway, right?
Mm.
But that's basically what the contract and everything will say. And then, but yeah, for sure, we won't notify the lender, right? We'll just keep making, and honestly, we'll be making the payments to catch up the loan, and I'm sure the bank will be happy when they see that. And then we'll just keep making the payments until we sell it. But it definitely makes it a better deal for us. And honestly, the reason I've been so interested is, yeah, the fact that you guys have a lower loan amount and we don't have to come up with. I just don't want to have to go tie up 90,000 of my cash. I want to just put my cash into the rehab. Trying to think of grab one of our old contracts. Would that be helpful if I walked you through our contract
Yeah,
now or
yeah. Like I said, I'm still gonna kind of talk to the lawyer about it and then also ask him about the title and make sure all of that's good too. So,
okay?
yeah.
You bet. I'm trying to think of the one I just did in locks.
And
That should.
then I know you talked about talking to some other people who you've done this with?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Do
I'd be
you have
happy
any
to.
pictures of what you've done and success stories and numbers of the old ones?
Yes, you bet. Let me
I know
send
you
a.
gotta go, but
Okay. Yeah, let me send you a couple links. I just did. I'm going to send you a video of the lady who just we just did got a testimonial actually like a couple weeks ago, and I'll send you the listings of the flip. You'll love it, and you can see a couple of these and see the finishes. Um, we'll do that, and then yeah, and really quick, this is just a contract that I'd send over. This is the one what was a it was a little higher priced one, but basically we'd have the purchase price, um, and then at the end we'll typically put like this about the promissory note. That's what I was talking about. You guys get a promissory note where you get 90%, we get 10 based on the sale price. And then it says we're responsible for all expenses related to the property and the mortgage and all that. So anyway, it's a pretty simple agreement. And then yeah, it's we try to keep it very simple. So it's not like a 50-page contract. Um, but anyway, any other questions?
no,
All right.
I could just see it already done, some other
Okay.
people and their numbers and how it all worked out.
Okay. Well, what would be most helpful for you guys to make a decision? I'll send you the photos and some other case studies. I'll send you a video, and then, um, yeah, and if you want to call somebody, you can. I try not to bug them, but I could definitely put you in touch with them. But I'll try to give you a couple video testimonials, and then yeah, and then I guess do you wanna? Is it helpful if I send the actual contract over, or do you wanna?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Mm.
okay, cool. All right. And then, like I said, and then how much time do you, I just knowing that I'd love to get it started and give the title company plenty of time to get us closed. Um, and I know and the title company will figure out all the, if there's any probate or any stuff you guys need from the probate side of it. Um, I typically lean on the title company, but I guess the only reason I'm saying it is I'd love to be able to get started in before or by the end of the month in December so we could get all the work done and list it in January. But do you guys feel like that timeline's good for you or?
Yeah. And don't forget to send the Excel file too. Um,
Oh, the Excel file. Yes. I'll write that down.
I don't know. There's just so many variables.
It's what was that?
So many variables. For
Yeah.
me.
Well,
Mm.
go ahead. And I got a couple more minutes if you just want to talk through. I want to make sure. I know this is probably not the way you've done your past sales, so I want you to feel comfortable. You know what? I mean, I guess let me tell you this, Ramona. If you feel like you want to move forward, let me set you up on a call with somebody who's done it before because they were in your same shoes, right? And I know for example, the last lady I worked with, I'm sure she would talk to you and she could kind of walk you through it. And but I just like I said, I respect her time. But if you feel like that's the only thing holding you back is like, hey, I just want to just talk to somebody, I definitely would let you do that.
Yeah. I guess because I mean, I've heard of people do it like this, but I always know investors want so much more, and I'm assuming you're getting it on the contractor side because you guys, have the business or whatever. So,
Yeah, no, for sure, full transparency.
because
Like,
people always want 50,000 minimum, so, and of course we didn't want to manage it, so you're getting that too, for managing the project.
exactly. Yeah, bingo. Yeah, I mean that's why on that 110,000, that's like, A, it's conservative. I want to make sure I can cover everything, and then B, yeah, we build in some profit there, and then yeah, and if you're looking at like my profit share, like I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm really betting on the fact that we could try to get to 350 as well.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, us managing the project, as you said, and doing the work, we'll make some on this spread here, for sure. And that's why, yeah, that's exactly how I come with that number. Like, we gotta make sure this deal makes sense. And I think based on me talking to Pat and doing a bunch of my own research, I feel confident that it's worth our time at this price, right? I mean, if it was a lot less than that, it just wouldn't be worth our time. Like you said, like most other investors.
Hmm.
But we just try to like we just as you know, we structure this way because we want to be able to get you the most out of it as we can, you know. And you guys get to reap the benefits of actually fixing it up. And you getting a listing. or keeping the listing, I should say. Still getting paid and selling it for more, right? As you know, the more you sell it for, the higher the commission is. So it's always good.
Yeah, real estate's been a headache lately.
Got it.
Okay, yeah, I think just having all the documents at one time, then talking to the attorney and getting a review. I mean, I don't know about Tanya, but I would hope to try to make a decision before the week is over with, so we would kind of know something going into Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Get it done before the haul. I'm sure that peace of mind would help heading into Thanksgiving. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. And yeah, so I'll send it all over to you. I'm going to send the testimonial from that seller I was just talking about. And her name's Isla. And if you want to talk, like if you feel like everything looks good and you're like, I want to do this, but I want to call Isla, I would be happy to set up the call. But I just want to make sure you're like, hey, I like this. I want to make it work. I always hate to go take Isla's time and then you come back and you're like, oh, sorry, thanks, but no thanks. I don't think you're going to do that to us. You guys have seen great the whole time. But anyway, so I'll send that all in an email and we'll go from there. Sound like a plan?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thanks, Ramona. Thanks, Tanya. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Have a good night.